Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into something absolutely incredible. We're going to completely dissect the structural genius behind the massive 25-episode epic series Chains of Love. So let's just jump right in because what we have here is literally a masterclass in how to sustain tension, build an entire world, and, honestly, break our hearts in the best way possible over a really long-term story arc. In this explainer, we're going to see exactly how the creators managed to condense and engineer this sweeping, chaotic narrative into a highly structured, super tight machine. Here's the battle plan for today's explainer. Now, we're not just going through a simple agenda. Actually, scratch that. It's more like we're mapping out the escalating phases of a storytelling war. We'll start with structuring a family epic, then move into the foundation of deception, hit divided loyalties and secrets, take a leap forward with the next generation, face the final reckoning, and finally look at the ultimate test. Every single one of these phases builds massive momentum, stacking the odds higher and higher as we go. Section 1. Structuring a family epic, condensing the 25-episode arc. You know, when you have 25 episodes to play with, it is so easy for a story to just drift, to lose its way. But the creators of Chains of Love completely dodged that trap by using what's basically a chronological escalation structure. Think of it like a narrative snowball arc. They engineered a really precise 5-season roadmap. So instead of one long, meandering story that kind of loses steam, you get 5 distinct seasons that each serve a very specific structural purpose to keep that tension dialed up. Let's see how this all builds, starting right at square one. Moving into Section 2, the foundation of deception, or Season 1's first strike. Right out of the gate, this first block of 5 episodes focuses intensely on the initial romance, and it brilliantly illustrates the core conflict of the whole show. In one corner, you've got the inciting incident. Nadia and Marcus meet, and they build this undeniable, amazing chemistry. We immediately want them to win, right? But then, opposing them, Solange and Mireille step in. They start exerting all this manipulative pressure, specifically targeting immigration and legal stability. The creators are basically using external, highly stressful real-world pressures to squeeze the internal romantic chemistry like a vice. It is just a perfect setup. Which brings us to the explosive finale of Season 1, Daniel Joseph's false accusation and arrest. I mean, it's just a massive, completely devastating plot point. But structurally, what really matters here is Marcus realizing that his brother was intentionally set up. That realization is the structural hook that literally yanks us by the collar directly into the next narrative block. The romance isn't just a romance anymore. It is now permanently tangled up with a high-stakes injustice. Section 3, Divided Loyalties and Secrets. Let's look at the escalating drama of Seasons 2 and 3. This is where the whole vibe completely shifts from a standard setup to just urgent, fractured desperation. Season 2 is all about this internal family rift that tears absolutely everything apart, all while Marcus is desperately diving into Daniel's case. And we get to see this rift mapped out step by step. Step 1, Corinne starts questioning her mother Mireille's motives. The family alliances are starting to crack. Step 2, in response to that, Mireille actively pushes Corinne toward Marcus just to create chaos. And then Step 3 is the tragic result. The pressure coming from both families becomes absolutely unbearable, culminating in the Season 2 finale where Nadia and Marcus face their very first major breakup. That deception we saw planted in Season 1 has now successfully poisoned the well. And then Season 3 hits, and the creators literally just stomp on the gas pedal. Look at all these colliding plot points that completely overwhelm the Joseph family. First off, Nadia becomes pregnant, causing an absolute explosion of family reactions. Meanwhile, Vanessa rises up as this entirely new threat. Her obsession with Nadia becomes just impossible to ignore. At the exact same time, Marcus uncovers these world-shifting old family secrets that completely rewrite everything they thought they knew. And finally, building to the Season 3 finale, a weakening but wildly desperate Mireille orchestrates this major financial and emotional attack on the Joseph family. It is a rapid-fire assault on her main characters. No one can catch a breath. Section 4, The Next Generation. Time for Season 4's time jump. Now, the creators knew they couldn't keep up that frantic, rapid-fire tension forever without burning the audience out, right? So they execute this incredibly strong pivot. We enter Season 4, and we take a massive narrative leap forward in time. This time jump acts as a much-needed palate cleanser for us as viewers, but it also forces us to face a pretty haunting question. What happens when conflict spans across generations? The kids have grown up, sure, but they haven't escaped. They're just inheriting all the drama and the deep-seated trauma of their parents. So in this new era, Nadia and Marcus basically have to team up again to protect their family from a whole new wave of hidden betrayals that start bubbling up to the surface. And this naturally leads to a really bittersweet climax for season 4, because the evidence proving Daniel's innocence finally begins to materialize, the exact thing we've been waiting for since way back in season 1. But it comes at an incredibly high cost to Marcus's siblings, because in an epic like this, victory always demands a sacrifice. Section 5. The Final Reckoning. Season 5 reveals the truth. Entering this final 5-episode block, the tone gets incredibly profound and reflective. It's not just about fighting the daily, gritty battles anymore. It's about uncovering the ultimate truth and asking if love can actually survive a literal decades-long war. A truly successful final narrative block has to pay off its long-running mysteries, right? Every single thread gets tied up here. The full truth behind Daniel's imprisonment is finally revealed, Vanessa's actual motives come to light, and perhaps most satisfyingly for all of us watching, Mireille faces the ultimate consequences for her decades of manipulation. The antagonists are finally held accountable, which perfectly clears the stage for the show's final message. Section 6. The Ultimate Test. We've reached the series finale. Let's zoom in on the concluding moments of this entire 25-episode epic. The dust has finally settled. Marcus and Nadia are standing together, not as bruised fighters in that moment, but simply as parents, answering their kids' questions about why they never, ever gave up. And then we get this line: real love is tested when everybody wants it to fail. I mean, wow. Talk about a thematic mic drop. When you look back at everything, the manipulative pressures in season 1, the crazy family rifts in season 2, the financial attacks in season 3, and all that inherited trauma in season 4, this was the anchor motif. The structural architecture was secretly building toward the entire time. All those complicated plot mechanics, they were just a testing ground for this one single, incredibly powerful theme. So that leaves us with one final thought today. How do these narrative blocks keep you hooked on your favorite epic stories? Now that you've seen the blueprint, how Chains of Love masterfully condensed its 25 episodes into 5 specific, escalating, deeply thematic seasons, I challenge you to look at the storytelling architecture of your own favorite shows. Are they using a snowball arc? How are they managing their narrative blocks to make sure you keep hitting next episode at 2 a.m.? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and hey, keep looking for the structure hidden behind the stories you absolutely love.